the galaxy's greatest villain never had to fall. Imagine a universe where Anakin Skywalker survived Mustafar, where Darth Vader never drew his first mechanical breath, where the Chosen One lived to see what he became. The Empire would face an enemy it could never anticipate, one who knew every secret, every weakness, every shadow in Palpatine's grand design. This is how one man's redemption shattered an empire 8 years early and rewrote everything we know about the galaxy far, far away. After his duel with Obi-Wan, Anakin lies burning on Mustafar's black sand. Obi-Wan walks away, unable to end his brother's suffering, but Padmé is there. She felt her husband's fall through their Force bond and makes the choice Obi-Wan cannot. She runs toward the burning figure, desperate, driven by love and the twins she carries. Obi-Wan follows, using the Force to smother the flames while Padmé drags Anakin towards safety. Together, they save him. The burns are catastrophic, but Anakin Skywalker still breathes. They fly to Polis Massa. Medical droids work frantically on both patients. Padmé's throat was crushed by the Force choke. Anakin's body is destroyed by fire. The droids apply crude cybernetics, makeshift life support systems covered with synthetic skin. This secret asteroid facility lacks core world medical technology. They save what they can. Padmé holds on long enough to see her children born, to look at Anakin's scarred face and see the man she married still trapped inside. She touches his cybernetic hand and whispers one final word: fight. Not for her. She knows she's dying, but for Luke and Leia. Then her heart stops. 3 days later, Anakin wakes, not as Darth Vader, but as a broken man with crude cybernetics covering burns that should have killed him. He sees his children for the first time and realizes with crushing clarity what he's done. The Jedi are dead. The Republic has fallen. His wife is gone. And the monster responsible stares back at him from every reflective surface. Obi-Wan wants to separate them immediately, but Anakin's damaged voice rasps out a truth Obi-Wan can't deny. Palpatine will search for these children. The only way to keep them safe is to make the Emperor believe they died with Padmé, and there's only one person who can sell that lie convincingly. Within a week, both children are hidden. Anakin watches them leave, knowing he may never see them again. This is his first act of atonement among thousands he'll need to make. Anakin doesn't hide. He does something far more dangerous. He walks back into the Empire. He wears concealing clothing to hide his cybernetics. He claims Obi-Wan left him to die, that his injuries scarred his connection to the Force. To sell the deception, he touches the dark side fully in Palpatine's presence. He lets anger, guilt, and self-hatred consume him. The Emperor senses a broken Sith apprentice drowning in darkness. What Palpatine doesn't sense is that beneath that darkness, Anakin is screaming in agony. The moment Palpatine dismisses him, Anakin releases the dark side and nearly collapses. He won't touch it again. The risk of falling a second time is too great. Palpatine offers a minor position analyzing old Republic defense systems. Desk work for a crippled veteran. The Emperor dismisses Anakin as too broken, too damaged to be worth monitoring closely. A wounded animal put out to pasture. This arrogance becomes Palpatine's fatal blind spot. Anakin accepts, gaining access to Imperial infrastructure, while appearing to be nothing more than a broken man. Anakin gathers staggering intelligence. Fleet movements, weapons development, the Emperor's private communications. But more importantly, he finds the survivors, scattered Jedi, rebel cells forming in secret, and Senator Bail Organa building something that could challenge the Empire. Bail receives an encrypted message, coordinates, and a single phrase: for Padmé. When he arrives, a scarred figure in shadows offers the rebellion everything. Bail is terrified. This is the man who marched on the Jedi Temple. How can he be trusted? Anakin provides locations of 3 hidden Jedi Bail didn't know existed. He gives up Imperial codes that could save hundreds. Then he reveals Palpatine is building a weapon powerful enough to destroy planets. The plans are scattered, construction years away, but it's coming. This is Anakin's penance. Every secret leaked, every operation sabotaged, every rebel life saved, payment for sins that can never be fully reconciled. Gaining true access takes years of careful work. Every night in his cramped quarters, cybernetic joints aching, he slices into restricted systems, using Republic-era protocols to find back doors the Empire never closed. One wrong move means death. But gradually, he assembles Imperial vulnerabilities. Within months, Grand Moff Tarkin's shuttle never arrives at the Outer Rim. Anakin leaked the route. The Death Star's chief architect and political champion dies before the weapon is fully conceived. The project doesn't die with him. Imperial bureaucracy has its own momentum, but without Tarkin's vision and protection, it loses priority and funding. But not every operation succeeds. 3 years in, Anakin identifies a Jedi survivor on Jabim. His warning arrives too late. The Inquisitors are already there. For every Force-sensitive child he saves, 2 others disappear before he can act. He's fighting an empire with infinite resources, losing more battles than he wins. Over years, Anakin's access expands. Not through promotion, but by becoming invisible, reliable enough to be trusted, damaged enough to be ignored. He cultivates contacts, trading favors, building a network. An archivist here, a technician there. Each small connection opens another door. By year 4, he's cultivating relationships with officers in other departments. By year 6, those officers trust him enough to share access codes. The Empire's own interdepartmental bureaucracy becomes his weapon. 5 years in, he accesses the Inquisitorious program files, lists of Force-sensitive children being kidnapped and twisted. He falsifies reports, reroutes transports to rebel space, makes children disappear into protection networks. He can't save them all, but over 3 years, he saves dozens, while hundreds more are taken. Meanwhile, he orchestrates something that reshapes galactic power. He arranges for evidence of Imperial atrocities to reach the holonet before censors can stop it. The massacre on Gorman, the slave labor camps on Kessel. Worlds that would have remained loyal suddenly question their allegiance. Within 5 years, the rebellion grows from a terrorist group to a legitimate movement. The children grow differently. Leia sits in rebel strategy sessions by age 10, learning from Mon Mothma herself. Luke stays on Tatooine, but Obi-Wan begins training him at age 12 in secret desert sessions. Obi-Wan and Anakin never speak directly. Their communication flows only through Bail, brief encrypted messages confirming the children are safe. Anakin never reveals himself to his children. The risk is too great. Instead, he watches from afar through stolen surveillance footage. He sees Leia's intelligence through grainy recordings. He watches Luke help repair vaporators, seeing Padmé's compassion in every gesture. There are nights when the distance becomes unbearable, when he considers breaking cover just to hold them once. But their safety matters more than his redemption. Some nights, staring at their images, he thinks maybe they're right to believe their father was nothing but a monster. It's the price he pays, every single day, for 15 years. The Death Star never becomes reality because Anakin systematically dismantles it over years. Year 7, Chief Engineer Bevel Lemelisk dies in what appears to be a lab accident when equipment Anakin altered causes catastrophic failure. Year 9, Galen Erso is extracted by rebel operatives years before the Empire attempts to coerce him. Years 8 through 10, Kyber crystal shipments from Jeddah are mysteriously lost. Without these components, without Tarkin's backing, and facing mounting costs, the superweapon is finally shelved in Year 11 as impractical by cost-conscious Imperial bureaucrats who never shared Tarkin's vision. This forces a critical shift. The Empire cannot rule through fear of planet-destroying weapons. It must maintain control through fleets and ground forces. And the Rebellion, armed with intelligence from the Empire's own systems, knows where every fleet is positioned, where every garrison is weakest. What should have been a decades-long war becomes a true contest within 15 years. Anakin's most devastating blow comes when he manipulates the Empire's own prejudices against it. He leaks classified communications showing Imperial plans to enslave the Wookiees, genocide the Mon Calamari, strip mine Ryloth regardless of casualties. These leaks go to the species themselves with months of warning. When Imperial forces arrive at Kashyyyk, they find a planet prepared for war. The Empire loses an entire sector fleet. Mon Calamari shipyards are evacuated, their engineers extracted to rebel space. These victories come at tremendous cost, but the species survive where they would have been enslaved or exterminated. The Empire's military cracks. Admirals are executed for failures they couldn't prevent. Paranoia spreads. Officers defect rather than face execution. When Grand Admiral Thrawn arrives in Year 12, he finds a deteriorating situation. Even his genius struggles against an enemy that predicts movements with impossible precision. Thrawn suspects a highly placed source but cannot isolate it. By the time the twins reach their late teens, the galaxy is unrecognizable. The rebellion controls multiple sectors through 15 years of grinding warfare. It's still vastly outmatched, but it's legitimate now. The Empire's economy strains under constant conflict. Year 12. Palpatine dissolves the Senate, proving the Empire is simply a military dictatorship. Then comes Anakin's endgame. Through carefully orchestrated leaks across multiple news networks simultaneously, he reveals the truth about Order 66, the clone programming, inhibitor chips, Palpatine's true identity as Darth Sidious, pieced together from dozens of intercepted communications that individually mean nothing but together reveal the pattern. The holonet explodes. The Emperor isn't just a dictator who seized power. He's a Sith Lord who orchestrated a galactic war from both sides and destroyed the Jedi through manufactured chaos spanning decades. This revelation fractures the Empire's remaining support. Some fleets defect. Moffs turn on each other. But many stay loyal anyway, out of fear, ambition, or because they've gone too far to turn back. The Empire doesn't crumble. It bleeds, but fights on. And in that chaos, weakened but still dangerous, Anakin sees his window to strike at its head. After the Order 66 revelation, Anakin finally breaks 15 years of silence. He reveals his identity to the rebellion's leadership. The spy they knew as Fulcrum is Anakin Skywalker, the Jedi killer, the man who made the Empire possible. Ahsoka Tano faces her former master for the first time in 15 years. She heard what he did at the temple. During his revelation to rebel leadership, Anakin tells them everything, including the twins he saved, now hidden and trained as the rebellion's future. Ahsoka's pain multiplies. They have one brief, painful conversation, and she agrees to join the strike team. Not for him, for the galaxy he helped destroy. While rebel fleets engage orbital defenses, Anakin leads a ground team through maintenance tunnels he's spent years mapping. With him are his children, now 15 years old and trained in the Force. They met for the first time only weeks ago, brought together by Bail and Mon Mothma to prepare for this mission. Two strangers who are also siblings, still processing the impossible truth of each other's existence. Neither knows the scarred Imperial defector is their father. They know him only as Fulcrum. Ahsoka knows, and it's killing her to watch. Cal Kestis, Sia Junda, and other survivors complete the team. They reach the throne room through knowledge. Anakin knows when Palpatine meditates, when guards rotate, when the Emperor believes himself safe. The doors open. Palpatine faces a Jedi strike force led by his former apprentice, flanked by children he never knew existed. The Emperor doesn't laugh or gloat. He simply attacks. Force lightning chars the walls. The throne room becomes a war zone. Despite 15 years of preparation, Palpatine might still win. When the Emperor attacks Leia with Force lightning, Anakin throws himself between them. His cybernetic body absorbs the blast, systems overloading. In that moment, Luke and Leia understand who their leader truly is. The revelation crashes through them through the Force. Their father, the monster and the hero, both at once. The shock almost costs them the battle. But Ahsoka and the survivors don't stop, giving Luke and Leia seconds to decide. Their father just saved their lives. They choose to fight beside him. The killing blow doesn't come from Anakin alone. It comes from his children fighting beside him. From Ahsoka channeling the light side through tears. From every survivor striking in unison. Palpatine falls because the Jedi Order, scattered and broken, strikes as one final time. His body dissolves in dark side energy, his scream echoing through the Force across the galaxy. The darkness that has oppressed them for 15 years suddenly, violently, ends. The escape is chaos. They fight through collapsing corridors, through royal guards who continue fighting even though their emperor is dead. Anakin leads them through paths he memorized years ago, his cybernetics sparking, but he doesn't stop. They make it to their ship minutes before the palace wing collapses. Without Palpatine, the Empire doesn't survive. Without his will, without superweapons, without legitimacy, it fragments within months. Moffs become warlords fighting each other. Systems liberate themselves. The Rebel Alliance becomes the New Republic through systematic collapse. Some Imperial holdouts fight on for years, but the war is effectively over. The galaxy is free, though scarred by 15 years of oppression. Between the throne room and the trial, there are weeks of silence. Luke and Leia return to their respective homes, processing not just their father's identity, but everything that came before. The years of separation, the lie of their deaths, the impossible choices that kept them alive. They don't visit Anakin, they don't send messages. Obi-Wan and Bail try to explain 15 years of secrets, but no words make it easier. Anakin Skywalker stands trial before the New Republic Senate. He doesn't deny his crimes, he lists them methodically. Every Jedi he killed, the younglings, every atrocity he enabled. The verdict splits the Senate. Some call for execution. Others argue his years of service earned mercy. Mon Mothma makes the final decision after weeks of deliberation. Anakin is exiled to a remote Outer Rim world, forbidden from holding power, training Force sensitives, or leaving without Senate permission. His service is acknowledged, but always with full accounting of his crimes written alongside it. No redemption arc, just the truth, complicated and ugly. He accepts without protest. He lives the rest of his days in isolation, visited occasionally by his children. The first visit comes 6 months after the trial. Luke arrives alone, sits in silence for an hour. When Luke finally asks why, Anakin has no answer that satisfies. The second visit is Leia, 3 months later. She tells him she's grateful he stopped Palpatine, and she'll never forgive him for killing Jedi. Both things are true. There is no Hollywood ending, no tearful reconciliation, just a broken man living with his choices, and 2 children learning that people are more complicated than legends, that love and hate can exist simultaneously, that some wounds never fully heal. Forever haunted by those he killed, Anakin finds small comfort knowing his final 15 years brought the galaxy peace. The Empire fell 15 years early. Billions who would have died, lived. Alderaan was never destroyed. The Jedi rebuilt under Luke, Ahsoka, and other survivors. And the Skywalker legacy became not simple tragedy or redemption, but terrible mistakes and harder-won atonement, a cautionary tale told throughout the New Republic to generations who would never fully understand the man at its center. He died alone, years later, having never held a lightsaber again. His children attended the funeral. They didn't cry. But what if the timeline shifted even earlier? What if the choice that doomed the galaxy happened not on Mustafar, but decades before? What if the Jedi Council had made one different decision about a young boy with too much fear in his heart? Because in another timeline, another possibility, that 9-year-old slave never left Tatooine, and the consequences of that single moment would prove even more devastating than anything we've explored today. If you've enjoyed this journey through an alternate Star Wars timeline, there are more untold stories waiting to be discovered. Join our growing community of Star Wars enthusiasts who believe in exploring these what-if moments that could have changed the galaxy far, far away. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and activate notifications to catch our next alternative Star Wars story. Each tale offers a new perspective on the characters we love and the choices that define them. Remember to share your thoughts in the comments below. What other pivotal moments in the Star Wars saga would you like to see explored differently? Your ideas might inspire our next adventure. May the Force be with you, always.